Hey, what is up, squad? TITOBODS here. It came to my attention that we have a lot of players still at the age of the game, still doesn't know how to do their warrior swordsman. And since I really want to do a warrior swordsman video for a while now, I think this is the best time also to give them advices and guides on what to do as a warrior swordsman in the game. May it be for free-to-play player, those spenders or mid-spenders or big spenders. And also, since we are talking about warrior swordsman, I'm going to show you something first before we proceed with the video. But before all that, don't forget to like this one, share this with your friends so that we're going to be good with the algorithm. We're going to reach more players to check out this beginner's guide for your swordsman march. And also, if you are new to the channel and you like Age of Empires mobile content, maybe you can consider giving us some love by subscribing. And also, don't forget to ring the bell so we'll always be notified as soon as we have a new video just for you. Anyway, guys, let's talk about this one first. So we have here leaked photos of the new heroes for your warrior swords. I will make a separate video about it if you want me to, but right now I'm just showing you the pictures, the name of the heroes, this possible skill, because these are all not final. These are just leaks. These are not official yet, so I'm not saying anything and I'm not going to tell you anything about it. But if you want me to do a reaction video on it, just give me a huge favor and leave a comment down below. Okay, so we're going to start for free-to-play players for their marches. So first of all, I want you guys to know something about the Giants Roar event. So this is a new server, and I am testing a lot of things in here also, and I'm going to do a separate route or way or heroes more away from the standard ones that we have in our main account. Now, in this account, I want to show you guys how you can maximize the use of your banner. Now, I want you guys to get as many Derrick medals as you can with this. So first off, what you can do is to gather, of course, your banners and also your spears. Now, the best way to do that is to attack tribes, right? Okay, so now sometimes you don't have enough stamina. So what you're going to do is prioritize. Now, the thing here is I want you also to take note of this once because this is important. So you have 10 rally to defeat the 10 giant legions, which are from the spears. So you can only do 10 of that as an assist. Also, do the daily 20 pieces. It's going to be for a week, so you will have 140 pieces of Derrick's medal by just assisting the 20 members for per day. So you will have 140 pieces of Derrick's medal doing it that way. And also adding on to the giant legions, when you assist on this one, you will get 2 pieces of Derrick's medal, so you will get 20 pieces. You can get right away 160 pieces of hero medals plus the 10 pieces here. That's going to be 170 based on my calculation, I think. So you're going to arrive at that number, but it is not your limit. Always remember, even though you have claimed all the rewards for the day, you can still get your King Derrick's medal. So what you can do is to rally your banners, but I don't want you to do it every day. I want you to do it on the last day where everyone can actually benefit. So if your alliance doesn't have a plan on the Giants Roar, or they don't have the schedule, because some alliances do that, so they don't have the schedule to maximize all the output of the hero medals of Derrick, what you can do is on the last day, that's when you want to use all your banners, your spears. So what I want you to do is to get as many banners and spear as you can, because that's going to be one of the deciding factor on how many Derrick medals you can get in this Giant Roars event. And if you're a free-to-play player, you want to continue using Derrick till the end, I still don't want you guys to be investing Universal Hero medals on him. So what you can do is to just complete your Gleaming Store. So you can actually get their Derrick. I don't see it yet here, but he will appear there. Okay, now since we are done with that, I will show you some builds for your Season 1 free-to-play, then Season 1 pay-to-play, and also we'll tell you the important things that you need to remember, especially in Season 1. So the first hero you will get as a Warrior Swords is your Josephine. Then next, on Day 2 for Season 1, you will get King Derrick. And also, on Day 7, you will get your hands on Hammurabi. But while you are waiting for Hammurabi, or if you don't want to use King Derrick or Josephine, you have other options such as your Harold. But I don't think you want to do that because Josephine and King Derrick is still good here. So this is going to be your hero until you reach the city level 17 or citadel 17, wherein you can now get a third slot. Now, my advice to you is that you must make sure that on day 7, just as I have now, you will unlock the citadel level 17. So together with the arrival of Hammurabi, this is going to be a very strong march as an early swords user. Now, if you are a free-to-play player, this is what you want to have in Season 1. So the builds for this one are going to be your Josephine must have your Sunder so that you will have a route effect. So you can get their Sunder, and your other skill could be Protracted Battle or Double Attack. But for me, I like the Double Attack better than any other else there. For tankiness also, and for proc of your signature skill. Now for King Derrick, what you want also, if you are a free-to-play player and if you don't have yet the legendary medals here for your skill, you want Sunder first, and then your Efficient Harvest is the one that you want to replace before you get other skills. So I think you want the Earth Crush first and then remove the Efficient Harvest. So you will have 2 route effects. But once you finalize that and you are going for them until you get other heroes and you still want to invest, you can get the Righteous Judgment. But I don't really recommend you doing that if you are going for free-to-play Swordsman Warrior March, and that is going to be your main. I don't recommend you to get more than 1 legendary skill for your King Derrick and for your Josephine. So Sunder plus double attack, then King Derrick, get your Sunder also plus just Earth Crush or Righteous Judgment, which of those 2. So when it comes to Hammurabi, when you get him, you can use your High Spirit if you want to. If you have, then Sunder also. Since you are a free-to-play player, you want Sunder and High Spirit. So this is a free-to-play player for Season 1. Now, for free-to-play player Season 2, what you can actually get now, since you already have something starting, or this is for free-to-play player Season 1. Now, what you can do is to get your hands on Tribhuwana in Season 1, because she's going to be available there. The next season, you will get Yodit now. So Season 2, you will get Yodit and Tribhuwana now, and still you can use Derrick while waiting for another hero. Yes, you can still do this while waiting for your other hero, because Derrick will still buff your Yodit, and then Tribu will buff your Yodit. So Yodit's going to be an invincible one here. So, but now, what I want you to do is to be more defensive on your Tribhuwana so that you will still have a defense on the process. So you can still use the fortification, but now you can shift from Righteous Judgment or Bloodthirst from King's Blade. So those are the 2 that I want you to focus on in Season 2. So you will only have those marches. Now, on the next season, Season 3, you can now get your hands on Mehmed. So you can use this lineup for a while if you want to, or you can use this lineup as your main lineup until the end, but this lineup is going to be tanky and base damage. Now, the only reason that you will replace Mehmed is the arrival of Lagertha in Season 4. This will give you more damage than what Mehmed can really give you here. But with Mehmed in here instead of Lagertha, you're going to be as tanky as you can be. So if you're looking for tank, you can stop here and get a new lineup or move on to the next lineup. So if you haven't yet maxed them out or maybe 3-star them in this season, maybe you want to get your hands on Lagertha for more damage, but it really depends on your preference if you want tankiness or damage. If I haven't yet mentioned the final build for your Yodit, for your free-to-play players, Yodit, Tribu, and Lagertha is my go-to for this lineup if you want to. But if you want to be tanky, you can go for Yodit, Mehmed, and Lagertha. So this is also one of the strongest lineup as a free-to-play player or a low spender. So if you want to, I suggest that you need to really focus on the stars. So until you get them maxed out, I don't want you guys to be touching any other class or troop type. Because if you just let them be at 3 stars and you haven't really maxed out their equipment or give them the highest potential that they can get, I think you're going to waste a lot of your time, a lot of your investments, a lot of your resources, because I believe that one troop type or one troop with a max stars, with a max out armor, with a max out gems is going to get you far in this game. Even though you have only 1 march, you can do tons of damage versus free-to-play players or low spenders that have invested in multiple lineups. I assure you that one. Okay, so the only dilemma you are going to face is if you are going for tankiness or if you are going for damage. So I will leave that decision on your side. But if you go for Mehmed, these are the skills. You want Owl's Lament plus your Peaceful Haven, as you can see here. So that's what I want you to get. On your Yodit, there is nothing or no changes. I want you guys to get your Executor and your Furious Charge. The Battle Roar is also good, but I believe Executor and Furious Charge is the best if you're going for this lineup. Now, next up is your Lagertha. If you're going to use Lagertha in here, the build that I want you to do is not this one, but rather I want you to go for High Spirit plus your Raging Bloodline. So that's my build for your Lagertha in there. That's what I want you guys to do. Or here are your spenders lineup. So if you would purchase Mia, make sure you purchase him as early as you can. And then next up, while you are waiting for Tribhuwana, you can run your Derrick and Hammurabi with your Mia. Make sure your Miyamoto has the skill first of your Earth Crush. And also, you can use your High Spirit in order for you to get much more activation this way. You can also run a Furious Charge since late game, this is what you are going to get. So, first of all, you want to get Earth Crash to continue the route effect going, and also High Spirit for the activation chance to give you more activations. Now, Furious Charge can be exchanged for that in the future, but while you are using Derrick, my suggestion or recommendation is Earth Crush and High Spirit. You can get your hands on Tribhuwana also in Season 1, so what you're going to do now is to get your Tribhuwana and place her in the middle like this, and make sure that your Tribhuwana has lower might than your King Derrick, because let's face it, King Derrick has lower might in total than Tribhuwana because of the might scaling or might progression. As you can see, 0.84, Tribhuwana has 0.95. So what you want to do is make sure that you always check how much the might of your King Derrick is, so that your Miyamoto's bonus on his signature skill, which is your activation chance and your 30% extra damage, would be received by your King Derrick and not your Tribhuwana. Because if Tribhuwana has higher might than your King Derrick, your Miyamoto's bonus for your signature skill, these two here, will be useless. First of all, because Tribhuwana doesn't have an active skill. So first statement there in the description of Miyamoto, it should be an active skill. Second off, there should be damage. Because this skill is a passive and doesn't have damage, that bonus of your Miyamoto is completely useless if you're not aware of the might progression of your Tribhuwana and your King Derrick. So in order for you to make sure that your King Derrick has higher might, make sure that Tribhuwana only has 1 star for the season. Even though she has only 1 star for the season, you're going to still give off a lot of damage. So make sure that you only have 1 star on her, and always check on the might of King Derrick and your Tribhuwana. If your King Derrick happens to be at 5 star, if you have invested on him, now you can also invest maybe on his skill to make sure he has 8 Earth Crush and Righteous Judgment. Then your Tribhuwana can get the skills of also, your Tribhuwana can get Fortification for that. And also, another one that I think would be best is Bloodthirst. But most players are going to go for Kingsblade, so that's also a viable option. So Fortification and Kingsblade is the mostly build or standard build for your Tribhuwana here. But a lot of players also like Righteous Judgment than Fortification. Whatever your preferences here are, as long as it's only between these 4 skills here, I think you're going to be good. So I think because this 4 skills here has almost the same properties and values for this lineup. But my preference for this lineup is actually the Fortification for more defense, since the lineup needs that one, and also Kingsblade, so that both Miyamoto and King Derrick can get that damage, because you are lacking a bit of damage here because your Tribhuwana is only 1 star, so you will have a little bit less of damage from the skills being thrown by Tribhuwana. Now, next off, after getting to Season 2, you will now eventually get Yodit. This is the tricky part. It's either, if you are a low spender or a mid spender, that you want to stop here. If you can afford more heroes in the future, you can actually max out Yodit. But if you are a low spender to mid spender, I don't want you to touch Yodit anymore. Just get Derrick, wait for the next season, wait for Lagertha, wait for Mehmed, whichever you want. Because with Mehmed, you can actually get Mehmed in Season 3. If you are going to skip Yodit, you're going to get Mehmed, it's also okay. So your King Derrick is going to be here. So just invest on the other things in the game and wait out Mehmed. And I assure you that Mehmed, with this lineup, is going to be tanky, one of the tankiest lineup in the game. If you're going to go for pure defense, you can go for your Constantine as a spender, because you can actually get him in BAP if you're a spender. Now, Mehmed here in this lineup, if you are not using him in any other lineup, you can use Mehmed here in this lineup. And the only downside of having Mehmed and Constantine in this lineup is your Miyamoto's. First of all, if you're going to use Constantine, your Miyamoto's additional damage for 30% is going to be useless, because Constantine's skill is not damage, so you won't have any damage multiplier on that. Now, if you have Mehmed, on the other hand, you will be also tanky, good with a long-lasting Miyamoto. But your Mia and your Tribhuwana should be the damage dealer here, and what will happen is that your complete bonus for your Miyamoto will be useless. So there's no activation chance, there is no damage because Mehmed has a turn-based skill. So that's the only downside to having Mehmed and Constantine in this lineup. But if you want to run this lineup, here are my suggestions for the builds. Now for Miyamoto, the builds still is going to be your High Spirit and your Earth Rush, so that you can still get your the best damage that you can get here. Why not Furious Charge? Because you need an additional damage here. This is not yet a Lagertha build, because when it comes to Lagertha, you're not going to need an additional source of damage. You just need to boost your damage because of the activation chances. So although you have the High Spirit here, you will need additional source of damage. So I think the Earth Crush from your Season 1 is going to still be useful. Now, when it comes to your Tribhuwana, still the same should be done, but here, this time around, since you already have a Constantine that will heal you, that will buff you, you don't need a defensive skills. What you want is your King's Blade, number 1, for the damage, and I want you guys to get now either Bloodthirst or Righteous Judgment, and completely forget about fortification. So number 1 needed here is King's Blade. You don't want to miss on that. And the next one is Bloodthirst and Righteous Judgment. But based on our findings, or based on the tests, Bloodthirst will give you more damage. Righteous Judgment will give you more tankiness. Because Righteous Judgment will only trigger once or twice in the process and thrice the most. But Bloodthirst will give you 4 or 5 activation chance, giving you more damage, and also will give you a bit of heal. Now, that bit of heal is going to be still thousands of health. So for the Righteous Judgment, though, you will get your debuffs on your enemy with your might and strategy decrease. That will still be helpful with you. So I will let you guys decide between Bloodthirst and Righteous Judgment because they are both good in my opinion. Only for this build, okay? Now for your Constantine, what you want to do is to get your Bloodthirst also and your Peaceful Haven. You don't want the High Spirit anymore to be activating because you already are being boosted or activated by Miyamoto, because this is an active skill, so Miyamoto will trigger this also almost every time. Every time Miyamoto skill activates or activated by Tribhuwana, your Miyamoto will activate this skill right here. So you don't really need the High Spirit here anymore. What I want you to do is to get a Bloodthirst maybe. So Bloodthirst actually has higher potential because with the Constantine's damage, with Constantine's might, you can still deal a lot of damage with that, and then plus its additional heal. So the only additional thing that your High Spirit can do is to boost your activation chance for your Ever Vigilant, but with this one, it's somewhat like that because Bloodthirst also gives off good recovery, but on the other hand, will give you damage and will potentially give your whole lineup a burst of damage in the process because they are lacking damage because you have healers here and only low damage on this one. That's why Miyamoto should have 1 damage skill rather than Furious Charge. So 1 damage skill, then High Spirit here, and I think that's about it. And I hope that I have explained it well. Now, when it comes to Mehmed, what you want for the skill to be is still this one. There's no changing the fact about this one. So the only thing that will change here is that your Mehmed won't be boosted by your Miyamoto even with activation. So that's the only change in here. But this has higher damage potential because of the signature skill of your Mehmed. Okay, so still the tankiest is your Constantine, but the definite one that will give you more damage because sometimes damage beats defense is your Mehmed. Now, if you're going to skip both as a low spender, you can wait on Lagertha. And this is my ultimate build. This is my ultimate build. As you can see here, this is my final build for my Miyamoto. This is my final build for my Tribhuwana. You're going to ask why. Because as you can see, out of these 3, there is no other heroes that will give me a little bit of survivability, right? So I chose Bloodthirst. It gives me a lot of heal. Also, the heal here from her signature skill is also good. And then the fortification works like a charm. If you're up against a Lubu and you have this build, you can stay way longer than if you don't have this build. Now, for your Lagertha, I don't mind you guys getting your hands on the High Spirit. But for me, if you already have a Miyamoto on the lineup and a Tribhuwana, you don't really need the High Spirit anymore because your skill is going to always be activated. The only skill that your High Spirit is going to activate is not this one because this one is passive, but this one, your signature skill. And this is being boosted already by Miyamoto. So you don't really need to do that. So for me, the best other option here is Bloodthirst because number 1, it has damage, good damage, 300. And also it will have your recovery. So we all know that your signature skill already has your recovery. As you can see there, it has a recovery, additional recovery. And with the Bloodthirst, you're going to have more recovery. So it will add on to that. So it will compensate on the lack of a defensive hero for your Miyamoto. Others are going to choose Righteous Judgment again versus Fortification, but for me, in my honest opinion, I think Fortification is way better because the Righteous Judgment is only for 3 seconds, right? You will only reduce the enemy's hero's might for 3 seconds. And what is painful here is that this only activates rarely. And once it activates, it will only give you, it will still wait 3 seconds to activate the skill itself. So it will only give you a few activations. Now with Fortification, Fortification will give all your heroes 110 armor, but all of them, it's going to be a total of 330 armor for the whole troop. That is a lot. So it will also be for 3 seconds also, but it is every 6 seconds. And you're going to trigger this every time. After you have finished this one, you will have another cycle because you are consistently being killed by Bloodthirst, by your passive here, and it will always activate. So you are always with your 330 additional armor, and that is a huge defensive boost in my opinion. So that is why this is my ultimate final lineup for Miyamoto. Although some would argue that they can beat me on this lineup, especially the players with 125 and up level on their heroes. And of course, you all know why, because they have advantages, right? Sometimes it also depends on your rings and also on your gems. And there are also now mounts that will also tweak the balance. So if you're going to fight my lineup without armor, without everything, I will fight you to it and give me your best shot. So of course, sometimes we're going to lose to the players that has a little bit, even just a tiny bit of advantage when it comes to the other things in the game. But I will die with this build. This build is my final build for my Miyamoto, and this build actually does a lot of things done. And also, this is the build that put me in the map. So I think that's about it for your Swordsman, because I think I tackled everything out. Anyway, guys, hope you have learned something from this video today. I think this is just a short one and short explanation on the Swords March. And I think this is, and I hope I didn't miss anything on the Swords March though. So I think I did cover up most of the Warrior Swords lineup that I can muster on. The only thing that I didn't mention really is KA, because KA has only a few heroes, or there are only a few heroes or a few players that have KA. But if you want me to do a KA build and a KA March test, and also my suggestion on the lineup, just tell me in the comment section. And if a lot of players are going to like this video, let's say 100 and plus likes, I will consider doing a KA or King Arthur video for you guys. And of course, I'm going to test King Arthur firsthand for you guys. So make sure you like this video, share this with your friends, your alliance, everyone. And if we hit 100 likes, we're going to do a KA test, definitely. What are your thoughts on this guide? And do you think I missed something out? Or if you have any other question, just leave them down in the comments and let's talk about it. Now, I will cut this video here, and next time we're going to do other stuff. And if you have suggestions for the emotes, please also leave them down in the comments, because I really am excited for the emotes for you guys to enjoy during our live stream, because I'm planning on live streaming twice a week to thrice a week depending on the schedule. And if you're new to the channel, you like this kind of content, please do subscribe and give us some love. Don't forget to ring that bell so you will always be notified as soon as we have a new video just for you. And as always, squad, have a great day to everyone. Have a great weekend and a blessed Monday. This is your TITOBODS, and I will see you in the next one.